Welcome to This Explainer. Have you ever experienced that absolute universal dread of being put on the spot? You know the feeling. You're in a meeting, maybe at a social gathering, and suddenly, bam, all eyes are on you to answer a question you totally weren't prepared for. It's terrifying, right? Well, today, we're breaking down exactly how to conquer that feeling. We're going to use a very specific communication strategy based on the teachings of communication skills expert Vinh Giang.
So, I want to ask you directly, what actually happens to you, physically and mentally, when an unexpected question is just thrown your way? Think about it for a second. If you're like most of us, your heart rate spikes, your palms might get a little sweaty, and your brain just seemingly halts all normal function. You're forced to speak off the cuff, and suddenly, all that confidence you normally have when you're prepared, it just completely vanishes.
As Giang points out, your brain basically hits the panic button. It's literally like you've suddenly opened a dozen browser tabs in your mind all at once, just scrambling to figure out what to say. You start second-guessing. Uh-oh, what do I say? Do I talk about this? Wait, should I mention that? And as you start trying to verbalize all those chaotic thoughts, you end up rambling. Instead of making clear, concise points, you just trip over your words. It's incredibly frustrating, it's embarrassing, and let's be honest, it makes you feel incompetent and insecure.
Less than 10%. Now, why do we ramble when we aren't prepared? Well, it's because we don't have a safety net. When Giang asked a room full of people at his public speaking workshop how many of them actually use frameworks when they communicate, less than 10% of the room raised their hands. And honestly, that is the true root of the problem. When you get asked a question and you aren't prepared, you have absolutely nothing to fall back on, so you just default to rambling.
So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding what a framework actually is. Think of a framework as simply a structured fallback plan. It's a mental container to organize your thoughts during impromptu speaking. When you don't have perfectly prepared content, having this pre-built structure already sitting in your mind prevents you from going blank. You don't have to panic about how to organize your words, you just pour your thoughts right into the framework.
Section 1. The 3-2-1 Method. Now, this specific framework, recommended by Vinh Giang, is what he relies on for Q&As, filming social media content, or literally any time he has absolutely zero time to prep. Let's break it down. The first part of the trick, the 3 in 3-2-1, stands for 3 steps. If someone asks you a question, you immediately tell your brain to break the answer down into a 3-step chronological process. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. It instantly gives your rambling brain a perfectly straight line to walk down.
Moving right along, the 2 stands for 2 types, or 2 ways of looking at a topic. This is your second option in the framework. If a 3-step process just doesn't naturally fit the question you've been asked, you can simply contrast 2 different versions, 2 different approaches, or 2 distinct types of whatever the subject matter is.
And finally, the 1 stands for one thing. Honestly, this is perhaps the easiest and most direct option to fall back on. You just focus your brain entirely on one main point, one single takeaway, or one specific aspect of the topic, and you speak only about that. No tangents, no dozen browser tabs open in your head, just one thing.
Section 2. Example 1. The avocado.
Okay, to really prove how powerful this is, Giang actually asked an audience for a completely random zero-prep topic, and you know what they gave him? Avocados. Seriously, so if he chose the one thing route, he immediately had an anchor. The one thing about avocados, it's incredible on a keto diet. It's a high-protein source and it's fantastic. Boom, done. By picking just one thing, it saves him from that mental panic spiral. Without the framework, his brain would be racing about ripeness or how it goes brown in the fridge or mentioning a bunch of Mexican recipes. All that chaos is what gets you tongue-twisted. The one thing trick silences all that noise immediately.
But what if he went with the 2 types option instead? Well, he instantly contrasted 2 ways to have an avocado. Way number 1, you could smash it on toast. Way number 2, you can eat it whole like a fruit. And as Giang jokingly pointed out to the audience, the people who eat it whole like a fruit are total animals. But jokes aside, the framework immediately gave his brain a structured contrast to deliver a complete, coherent thought without a single second of preparation.
And hey, if you wanted to use the 3 steps option, he simply laid out the preparation process. Step 1, cut it in half and get the skin off. Step 2, mash it up. Step 3, season it with a little salt, pepper, and lemon. Unreal, right? It's completely effortless. You can really see how having these 3 options acting as a safety net totally catches your brain before it falls into a rambling mess.
Section 3, Example 2. Traveling under pressure. So, can an average person actually do this when the pressure is really on? Jiang pulled a student right onto the stage and gave her the topic of travel, and then he issued a pretty brutal challenge. He said, "I want you to formulate your answer in 3 seconds." And he literally starts a countdown. 3, 2.
And let me tell you, she absolutely crushed the test. Before he even finished counting down to 1, she fired off her answers. For the one thing, she said travel is magnificent because you can go anywhere you want. Spot on. Then, speaking right into the mic, for 2 types, she said you can travel regionally or you can travel internationally via a plane. Cue the round of applause. Finally, for the 3 steps to travel, she just said, plan it, book it, go. She didn't even let him finish the countdown. Because she had the framework, her brain didn't spin out into a panic. She just plugged the topic into the structure and delivered perfectly.
Section 4. Confident communication.
You see, this trick isn't just about finding the right words. It's about fundamentally changing how you present yourself to the world. The contrast is basically night and day. Without a framework, you're scared, you ramble, or you just go completely blank. But with a framework, Jiang noted that the student's body language completely shifted. She actually leaned into the microphone. She walked forward because she felt ready. She was genuinely excited to communicate because things were suddenly simple. She had her mental safety net.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. The very next time you are sitting in a meeting or you're out at a dinner and someone throws an unexpected question your way, do not open a dozen browser tabs in your brain. Fall back on the 3-2-1 method. Ask yourself right then and there, can I give 3 steps, 2 types, or perhaps the absolute easiest of all, what will be your one thing? Mastering this will completely transform how you speak under pressure. But it definitely begs the question, if one simple framework can do all of this, what other communication secrets are you missing out on?